Hello there. This is Basil Malik from Malik Inc., President and CEO. This is round 2 of the video series of Getting Started with No Code. So from the previous conversation, we talked about just getting started. What is the build up to actually doing something? And a lot of people struggle with, I have pain, now what? What do I do? What is the problem? How do I trace it? So where I typically like to start is just a centralized place where people can work together. In some cases, depending on your work environment, that may be just setting up a meeting to where everybody's at the same table having a conversation. If you're more of a hybrid or a fully remote operation, you can do something like Teams, Zoom, whatever it is, but someone needs to be sharing their screen. And the thing that you're sharing is basically a simple way of getting people to engage and interact with the same conversation, following the same train of thought, contributing their ideas, just getting everything on paper. So in this episode, we're talking about documenting ideas, concepts, and the outcomes that you're trying to achieve with the software that you're trying to implement. So if you start from the problem statement, what we're going to be covering in this one is I'm a corporation and I want to roll out a corporate wellness initiative. We want to reward our employees for basically making time for taking care of themselves. So we want to create a campaign, or maybe we want to do something along those lines to where our users can log into a system, click a button, add their activity, and then that activity translate into something. Don't know what it is just yet, and we don't have to go that far. That's kind of the beauty of software and working with something like Creatio, which is a no-code platform. You can just get something out there, and if we just aim for the bare minimum, we need a centralized place for everybody to go to so that they can effectively put their activities, their wellness activities, whether it's stretching, yoga, jogging, weightlifting, whatever it might be, we want them to put that into a singular location. So before we go that far, we know that that is effectively something that we want to achieve. So selecting a centralized place to start putting all this information down is very critical. You don't have to get fancy with this. A lot of people default to very structured, highly organized outputs structured in Visio. Like you're seeing on the screen here, this isn't Visio, this is a poor man's version of it. This is a software called BoardMix. You don't need to go this far. Microsoft Word, mind map, Miro, Excel. I mean, you don't really have to overcomplicate this. You just need to get everyone into the same path. Now, some of those other softwares might help, but it doesn't have to be that difficult. So I'm using BoardMix, and I can simply say, all right, point number 1, this is an outcome. And I want people to be able to log their wellness activities. That is an outcome. Okay, we got one. Perfect. Now we do the next one. All right. And we want to be able, maybe reporting. We want to rank people by the total number of minutes that they exercise. Presuming you want like a leaderboard type of structure or outcome. You can just document something like that. Outcome. Maybe this is just a habit that we're trying to encourage people to do. So we've got very simple stuff. Now, when we start generating this idea and the various concepts and pieces of it, you're starting to take something that is bigger and you're breaking it into smaller chunks. Now, we've got an outcome and a habit that we want people to have, which is a centralized place or a centralized way for them to submit their activities, their exercises, whatever it might be, into a single place. Great. Now we need to think about the next part. All right, we're getting them to put information into a system. Now what? All right, at a high level, let's think about reporting. So we've got an outcome that we want. We've got a mechanism that we plan on using after the fact. Now, what goes into it? So when we start taking just ideas like these and breaking them down into even smaller portions, we can do something like this. So we have an employee. They have a wellness activity, something that they do to better themselves. And maybe that's all we really need. So if we think about it, the simple flow is employee and they have wellness activities. Maybe that's good enough. You can continue to start breaking this down even more. So from a wellness activity, let's see, let's click this and let's do just an annotation in this case. So the wellness activity is going to have a date. Oop, this is in the wrong text. Let's fix that. And let's make it left. So if we think about what we're trying to capture with every single one of these, we've got a date. We'll have an employee. We'll have an activity. Maybe we'll even further classify that to type, and then maybe miles, minutes, things of that nature. So now we're starting to get an idea of the data structure. So we'll have an employee. An employee is going to have name. This is also using the wrong one, so we'll just fix that. Do this, that, and this is where my OCD is just kind of coming out in full force here. So we've got a name, we've got maybe an employee ID, if we even want to go that far. Depends on how big your organization is, what's the likelihood of people having the same name, some unique identifier of some sort. So now we're starting to get an idea of what this can start looking like from a simple data gathering standpoint. Now, I have already been thinking about this between the last video and this video. So when I think of the things that I want to capture, I already know. This is pretty much the way that I want to break it down. So here are all the things that I've done over the past several months. If you've been following me on LinkedIn, you know that I've rededicated myself to exercise and wellness as well. So all of these are actual things that I do on a regular basis. So these are all of the activities that I've done, the miles that I want to go, the minutes that I want to go. A lot of people don't necessarily care about miles, so if you wanted to leave that off of yours, that's perfectly fine. You can just focus on the minutes. And now we have a next progression. So when you think about the life cycle of the solution that you're looking at building, you don't want to get everything right all at once. You can do something as simple as what's referred to as an MVP or a minimum viable product. With a minimum viable product, you're basically trying to tease out what exactly is it that we're trying to do, and what does this simple functional piece look like. So if we're considering this from a wellness standpoint, we know that we need an employee. An employee is going to log into the system and they're going to create an activity. And then from there, sky's the limit. So step one, let's get the employee and the wellness activity put into a database so that our employees can start logging into one place and logging their activity. Now, this is our database structure, but this at least is the process of having a brainstorming session with the people that are key stakeholders in the process and building the solution, whatever it might look like. You're going to have a lot more on here than what I do right now, but I'm trying to keep it very simple. This is just an idea of what this is going to look like in the very short term. So we're going to start taking this and then we're going to move into the actual architecture and building in the platform within the next one. So looking forward to seeing you there. Hope you found this helpful. See you in a bit. Bye.